Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Pitch Purpose. I am your host, Tony Winslow, and on Pitch Purpose, I interview founders, business leaders, and marketers who are making an impact on their community and on broader society. I have been asked many times lately, what is pitch purpose? And the honest answer is I'm trying to kind of figure that out and nail my podcast pitch. So here's what I do know. I associate purpose with people. Purpose is more than a mission statement, more than an addendum. It's bigger than ideals, and it's about measurable impact on people in need. And my end goal is a future when founders and leaders are asked, who are your stakeholders? Their answers go beyond investors, beyond employees, customers, and they think of people outside of that, those who are in need and who need people speaking out for them. So if you are listening, thank you so much for your support. I hope you keep listening. I welcome idealists, change makers, and let's pitch purpose together. Today is a special episode because I am here with Joe Schlotman from Dewey's Pizza. My last 2 years as an undergrad student at Northern Kentucky University, go Norse, 2011 to 2013, I worked for Dewey's, and Joe, he was one of the first people to interview me. I was applying and interviewing for a management role because I love the restaurant industry. You could instantly cheer people up, get them excited, and bring smiles to faces. And I loved the fast pace, and I still feel like I grew extra arms because I can multitask so efficiently now. It was a lot of fun. So Joe, he's been with Dewey's for 24 years. He was actually the first general manager at the Oakley location, which is a suburb of Cincinnati. He's great at building leaders, building a culture, and super approachable VP of organizational development. And I've always appreciated the opportunities to speak with him. Joe, welcome to the show.
Morning, Tony. How's it going? Good to see you.
It's going really good to see you as well. Thank you so much for being on the show with me. Joe, why don't you tell me a little bit about Dewey's, what it is, and the origin story, how you started and where you're at now?
Yeah, Dewey's started here in Cincinnati. It started off primarily as a dining gourmet pizza shop and has very much become a gourmet pizza shop offering dine-in, carry-out, curbside, and delivery to a certain degree. And there is a Dewey. His name's Andy DeWitt. He got the idea for Dewey's working at his first hospitality job at a pizza place in Seattle. He'd gone there after school to make a go of it in music, took a job at a pizza place basically to pay the bills, and fell in love with it, loved the product, loved the fast pace and camaraderie of working in hospitality, and thought it was a really fun job and a really cool business. And he thought the product was amazing. And there was nothing really like it back here in Cincinnati. So with that all in mind, came back here to Cincinnati and started working on the first Dewey's. He had primarily worked in the kitchen and had a dining room component, and knew that he wanted to have somebody on the team that had experience and an understanding of how the dining room piece of the business worked. Him and I had a mutual friend that knew we were in similar places as far as goals were concerned. I'd worked my way through college in hospitality, fell in love with it, knew that that's what I wanted to do for a career. So when I finished graduating college, I continued to work in hospitality, even as I was doing some other professional things. And that was probably a pretty good indicator that hospitality is really where my heart was. I was working in some different circumstances, trying to build up my experiences so I could feel assured as a leader. That was when Dewey was getting the first restaurant together. We had a discussion about what it would take to have an opportunity to be successful doing a restaurant, and shared a lot of the same points of view. For us, it really boiled down to a few basic things. We wanted to have a structure so we could be consistent with what we did. We wanted to have training that would teach the people that we partnered with, not just here's what we're doing, but here's very much why we're doing what we're doing. We've always tried to partner with people that really need and expect to know why, and therefore they could become good independent decision makers rather than partner with people who are more disposed toward, please tell me exactly what to do and I'll do exactly that. We just feel like there's a lot of decision making that happens in a hospitality environment, and arming and being partnered with individuals who appreciate understanding why so they can be good independent decision makers was a big piece of the puzzle. And from a leadership standpoint, the primary thought was, and very much still is that our main functions as leaders is to ensure that the team has the tools and the resources, the support, the recognition and even the challenge that they require to feel assured and successful in what it is that they're doing. And if they have those things, then they're probably going to do what they do well, and they're probably going to enjoy what they do. And when that's happening, our experience is that the guest situation really takes care of itself. And so if we're meeting our objectives internally and creating a good experience for one another, for ourselves, the natural byproduct is the guests come in and have a good time as well. And that's worked really well for us. So here we are 20 something years later with 24 locations around the Midwest. And I guess that brings us up to now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you. I didn't prepare you for this question, but I wanted to ask you, the team-based service that Dewey's has is very unique. So I'm curious how that came about and why it was chosen for Dewey's to have, there's multiple servers and server assistants that will come to your table. Servers, I worked there for 2 years. They do have an assigned section, but it's unique and it's different, but it's awesome because everyone works together, and I think it helps build the culture. So why don't you tell me about that and kind of how that came about?
Yeah, it really is amazing. I'd worked in a number of restaurants, as I mentioned, kind of going through school, and each one was a really great experience. And I probably learned as much from some of the places that kind of weren't working as well as they could as I did from the ones that were. But one of the places, the last place I worked before entering into the opportunity with Dewey's, a place called Trio Restaurant, which is also here in Cincinnati, they had this team service approach. And it was a light bulb moment for me because I had seen literally 4 or 5 other ways of doing it, facilitating service inside of a restaurant. And the team service model just made tons of sense. It really created accountability amongst the team and ownership amongst the team where we were all responsible to one another. It really allowed for us to do the best job possible with the fewest amount of people. And so that was as a member of the team, it was awesome because it meant the best opportunity for me to make the most amount of money for the time that I was at the restaurant. And on the business side of things, it gives the business the opportunity to be as efficient with managing labor. It truly is a win-win situation for the members of the team as well as for the business. And the thing that I did not recognize when we initially adopted team service, and it extends into the kitchen. It's very easy to experience and observe as a guest in our dining room because it's right in front of you, but it's happening in the kitchen too. The thing that I didn't anticipate, but was a really great add, was it became part of the culture and the atmosphere where you experience the camaraderie that's happening inside of the building, and it becomes as much a part of the atmosphere as the temperature of the room or how bright the lights are or what music's playing. And I just thought that was really amazing, that oh my gosh, this is not just an efficiency play, or this is not just hey, can I help the team make the most money possible? But it truly became just part of the experience of using the restaurant, which was really cool and something I completely did not have on my mind when we adopted it.
Absolutely. Yes, I loved it. It was unique. And I think Dewey's, out of the 8 or 9 years that I spent in restaurants, was the one where I did feel like I grew that extra arm because I had all of these tables that I'm servicing. You have your section, but since you work together, and it just creates that efficiency but fun aspect to it. So why don't you tell me about your core values as an organization, how the culture has evolved? I know you went through some changes that we talked through a week or so ago. Yeah, talk to me about that and where Dewey's is at.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey and a process for us. We adopted a set of values, certainly I think at the time you were with us, which was 2011, 13, somewhere in there. Is that right? Yeah. So
2011.
At that time when you were with us, we had a very succinct set of values: teamwork and efficiency, hospitality. We had those. They were authentically us, and we did present them to each member of the team when they joined us. in the training, but then they didn't really have a life beyond that, except for the idea that, hey, we're living these things every day. We don't need to have them posted on the wall and stuff like that was sort of the prevailing thought at the time. And about 2018, we really started thinking like, well, we would like to continue to grow the business and we really want to preserve the vibe and the culture. We've gone from, at the time you were with us, maybe 600, 700, 800 people to now we have over 1,200 people. And so as those numbers keep adding up, the challenge is, well, how do we grow the business and preserve the positive culture? And the decision we made was, well, we need to figure out a way to have our values be more present on a day-to-day basis, to be more integrated into the different aspects of what we're doing. And we really set out on a journey to kind of understand, well, what's the best way to do that? After looking at a lot of different ways to accomplish that, came across this facilitator on purpose and values, whose name is Rudy Miick. He was appealing to us because a lot of his work was restaurant specific.
Sure.
And the place he was coming at it from, as far as integrating purpose and values, was very much in line with where our heads and our hearts were. It just felt like a good match of objectives and culture. His approach was to begin by going back to the drawing board on what is your purpose and what are your values. And his very first ad was, rather than having a group of top leadership define those things, invite members throughout the organization to get together, and what is authentic will ultimately come to the surface. And so we did that. We got together with 30 plus people. We invited members of the team from all types of different backgrounds, from all types of levels of experience. So we had some younger folks, some older folks, people that have been with us for years and years, people that have been with us for less than 6 months, people that worked in all kinds of different roles, people that were males, people that were females, people that were moms, people that were dads, all kinds of races, cultures. And we spent 2 days just talking about purpose. We talked about our personal purposes. We talked about how, where there was alignment amongst all of us, ultimately that led us to our new articulation of purpose of, we nourish the community, we create exceptional experiences every day, and we are next level. Then a few weeks later, we got back together and really went through the same exact exercise with our values. And the rules, and there's 11 of them, so I'm not going to list them all here. They're on our website in our culture section. But the rules in the room were, everybody had to agree and sign off on each, not just idea, but each word, each syllable. So there was a lot of healthy discussion about, like, does this say what we intend for it to say? And what else could be construed from this? And no person had a greater capacity to say yes or no than anybody else. Dewey was on the exact same decision tree as a hostess, 18 years old, who had been with us for 6 months. Everybody had the same ability to inform the outcome. And the end result of that was, I think, a really thoughtful and impactful purpose and values that gave us a great foundation for, okay, this is authentically what Dewey's is, and this is going to be our North Star to support our work, to support our decision making. Each element of our purpose and each element of our values is can easily be turned into an I statement or a collective I statement. So they're kind of phrased as collective I statements. We practice balance in work and life. We are efficient. We are inclusive and equitable. We honor each individual. All of those could be turned into I statements as well. So they're really our foundation for decision making, operating, difficult conversations, coaching to the positive, and everything else that we try to do every single day to integrate our purpose and our values into behaviors, into actions in the work that we do together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I think that my time at Dewey's and evidence of the stories that you've been sharing, I think that you all listen to your employees very well. There was changes that even based on an employee survey that I was noticing right away that Dewey's was making. And I love that you didn't want to have this top down leadership and purpose and values and where you said everything at the top, but you truly involved people from all across the organization. I think that speaks to who you are. So I want to switch gears a little bit and let's talk about Do More, which is the philanthropic or charitable part of Dewey's, and that was actually born from ideas that employees have, as you shared. So talk to me about the origin of Do More and how that came about.
Yeah, Do More really started organically. It was a creation of a few team members at one of our locations. Let's see, for 24 years old, it probably was born about 15 or 17 years ago, somewhere thereabouts.
Sure.
And it basically started with a couple of team members coming to a member of our management team and saying, hey, we're working on this run. I forget what specifically the charity was, but there was a charity walk, and a couple of team members came to the manager and said, it really, we're trying to get other like-minded people. I feel like amongst so many like-minded people here at Dewey's, would it be cool if we just presented the opportunity to the rest of the team for them to participate in this? And of course, the answer was sure, that's no problem, right? Go ahead and tell everybody what you're doing, and they can choose to do it or not to do it. That's everybody's decision. And that was sort of the initial germ. And it was like, okay, yeah, that's a good observation that those team members made, that, hey, there's a bunch of like-minded people here. There's a desire to be part of the community. I think Dewey did a good job of setting that marker down as a company, from his initial thoughts about what Dewey's would be. He wanted it to be a neighborhood classic, a phrase that he would use a lot when we were first get going. And he chose locations that cleared the path for that. Typically, we would try and find an old building that was sort of underutilized, and then we could put the restaurant in there and maybe be part of a revitalization of an area or the revitalization of a space. And our first restaurant that I'm sitting in right now is a very good example of that. Similarly, with Do More, it was, okay, well, that was a good idea. How can we expand on that? And essentially, it became, if you have an idea about how we can participate in the community and donate our time, our food, our space, businesses can cut checks. And that is a wonderful thing to be able to do. And we do that sometimes. But to be able to allow the team to participate in what's going on felt like a little more organic for Dewey's. So Do More became an effort to organize our teams to participate in community things that would help the community realize its full potential or improve or assist in some way. And so it evolved from there. It ultimately became a big enough thing where we had to hire somebody to organize it all, and that's continued on through today. So Do More is very much alive. The things that I think we enjoy the most are, we do pizza schools. That's one of our cornerstone Do More activities, and that's essentially an organization comes to us, they want to raise money, we donate our time and our food. The person that's interested in raising money does the marketing for, hey, we're going to do a pizza school. You can learn how to make pizzas and use the restaurant and hang out with your friends and eat the pizza you made yourself. And that's generated a lot of positive energy for the people that are participating in it, for our teams. It's helped raise a lot of money. Coming up in August, we'll have our biggest event to date, where it's a run to raise dough. The pause button got hit on it in 2020 and 2021 for obvious reasons, sure. But we had done it for the 2018 and 2019, and it's going to be happening again this year, the Run Raise Dough. We've already really, we had a goal in mind, and that goal appears to be very attainable. So we might reset a more aggressive goal. The
Sure.
response has been amazing. So it's exciting to see that on its way, and a whole new cast of characters helping make it come to life. And so it continues to evolve. It continues to grow as well. It's really a credit to the teams because it's completely voluntary, and it doesn't happen except for the initiative of the team. Without their initiative, it doesn't even happen. So it's a really cool thing.
So, and thank you for sharing all that. Can you tell me, for the listeners, about the Run to Raise Dough, how they can find more information, the date? That is a Cincinnati event, correct?
Yeah, I think if you go to our website, deweyspizza.com, there's going to be information there. It's in August. I don't have everything right at my fingertips. I wish I'd have thought of it. Maybe you can put it on your page or something after this. I'm sure we'll have everything up on the website.
Sure. I love what you shared, in that it was an organic experience and something that was born out of employees. And it's not, if you look at the stats, there's a report on the Dewey's website with Do More that there's been over $1.5 million donated over the course of 10, 12 years. But another incredible stat is almost 15,000 hours donated from employees, which is amazing. And, I served as the Do More representative at the Clifton store for a short time when I was there. And that was helping coordinate volunteers for events. We had kickball, we had Wild About Wine at the zoo. There was something at the Newport Aquarium. I think we took pizzas to Tender Mercies, which is a nonprofit in Cincinnati. So it was so much fun to be embedded within the neighborhood, that neighborhood classic like you talked about, but also embedded with how we're serving the people around us who are, they need help. So the stats from 2021, $29,000, 400 pizzas donated, 20 party salads, 160 dough balls. And it's fun. I'm sure your employees are rewarded by that experience, and obviously the community benefits as well. I wanted to share some of the charities that you all support. There's Adopt a Class, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, Cancer Center, Art Museum, and you all are very open to supporting different organizations. And there is some information on the website in terms of how, if you are an organization, you can work with Dewey's. I have one more question with Do More. Now, is there any leadership lessons or insights that you can provide as a leader at Dewey's on how other companies can implement these type of tactics and work with nonprofit partners?
I think what we've learned is just how to have that conversation with potential partners and understand how we can best service them. So I appreciated that rundown that you just provided about, for some we donated pizzas, for other people we donated time, for another thing we had them over to the restaurant, and it's not a one size fits all scenario. And what works for one organization doesn't necessarily work for a different organization. They, what's their bandwidth to do something, and that sort of thing I think comes into play. So I think having recognized that, and I cannot take the credit for that work. Others get the credit, not just one person, but others get the credit for doing that work and for recognizing that. But as a person observing it, I've appreciated how that conversation happens, and we've been able to figure out ways to work with organizations rather than have a one-size-fits-all approach to it. I guess that would be my initial thought on that.
That's great. And I think that expands to your organization as well, because you can have various employees and they bring ideas to you, so you can serve different charities and you can do different events. So it really opens you up to, that flexibility and being able to partner with these nonprofit organizations to help accomplish goals together. So you've been at Dewey's for 24 years. What's your favorite story from your time there?
I wish I had one single moment, but really it's a lot of little moments. And in the role of org development, it's all about the people. And we're already talking about, hey, if the team has the tools and the resources and the support and the recognition and the challenge that they require, then they're likely going to enjoy what they do and do what they do well. And so whenever I get the opportunity to plug into that energy, those are my favorite moments. I was literally talking to a young person who joined us at 17 years old. His mom just suggested, like, hey, you like eating there, like, why don't you go work there and check it out, right? That was the impetus for him joining us. And now he's 20 and he's going to get into management with us. I was doing an interview with him in support of his decision, and his articulation about what good leadership is, and just how clear-minded he was about what it was and the details that he was able to assign to it and the lessons that he had learned from observing others that he had worked with and what had worked for them and what had not worked for him and how that all collected into his where he is now. I was like, man, that is so sweet that he's 20 years old and like knows a heck of a lot more than I knew about it at 20, let alone 25 as we entered into this. And it makes me think of like, okay, I'm really happy for him, but I'm also really grateful for the people that he worked with that helped him get there. And I'm excited for the team that he'll be working with and how that understanding will translate into good experiences for the people that will be working in his orbit. It's times like that really get me pretty fired up. It's not like, oh, well, we broke XYZ sales number yesterday and now I'm excited because of what, those things are, it's part of the journey. But I think just seeing those human realities playing out in the best possible way is what's really exciting to me. Or when we get guest feedback about a member of the team that saw the opportunity to really change the day for somebody through just the recognition of an opportunity and the application of our purpose or our values and into an action. It was brought to our attention not that long ago that restaurateur, loosely translated, is restorer of souls. And I just thought that was a really cool, like, I'm not a restaurant manager, I'm not a server, I'm not a cook, I restore souls, right? And the idea of people coming to our restaurant, being able to put everything away and just interact with the individuals that they're with, or when they take it home, they don't have to cook that night. They're getting hopefully a really wonderful meal and can just focus on the people that they're with, or just self-care even if they're eating it by themselves, right? To be able to do that is a pretty cool thing. And it's hard for me to figure out one specific story that captures that sentiment. But I think when we are at our best, when we're the best version of ourselves, we are restoring people. And I think that's sort of what comes to mind when you ask me that.
Yeah, I think that speaks to who you are as a company. And, with the example of the 20-year-old who's going into management, he obviously was put in a environment where these values are being instilled into him, and he sees it every day and he learns from his leaders. And to be able to regurgitate isn't the right word, but to be able to translate that and have it in his own language speaks to who you are. And I remember when I was working at Dewey's, it's right next to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Well, not right next to, but very close in the same neighborhood. And guests would come. They would come to parents of these kids would come to sort of escape that reality that they're in. And I remember one instance, there was a mom and her son that came in, and I think the son got to go away from the hospital for a little bit. And I got to just bring a smile to their face. I think I gave him a hat, maybe a shirt, because I could have that emotional sense, emotional intelligence of something that's going on, and just being able to talk to people. And I think that Dewey's really enabled that going the extra mile, which was fun. So as we close here, why don't you talk to me? You mentioned Rudy Miick as someone with that leadership framework to help change and instill values and purpose. But are there any other books or recommendations, people to follow that you recommend?
We always liked Danny Meyer setting the table. So that's a very restaurant specific
Sure.
book. But I do think that the concepts that he talks about are applicable to a lot of businesses. And it's really about knowing who you are, knowing what your business is, staying true to that, which again, I think circles back to what we were talking about at the beginning with, well, what is our purpose and what are our values and what are our non-negotiables? And so I would point to Danny Meyer as somebody we've taken inspiration from. And on a personal level, I like Brene Brown. I like her
Absolutely.
work on vulnerability. And Dewey's is unique in the vulnerability category, I think, especially in the restaurant space. For those of us that have worked in restaurants, most of the restaurants I worked in, asking for help was not something that was really encouraged. It was more like, hey, if you can't handle this, then maybe you're not, this isn't the right thing for you. Or take care of your own business. Like that's your section, like just
Yeah.
get
If
it
you're in
done.
the
You just,
weeds, then you're
yeah, just
you're
move.
you're in the weeds by yourself.
Yeah, move faster, right? And
Mhm.
Dewey's is not like that. It is asking for help and recognizing that you need assistance is a demonstration of understanding and strength rather than a demonstration of ignorance or weakness. And yeah, I think Brown's work on vulnerability, the power of that, it didn't inform what we did. We were already there. I think it strengthened. It was an affirmation of the idea, and it gave us new avenues into taking it even further. So those are a couple of people that I would point to, and Rudy's really cool too for businesses that want to do work on purpose and values. Getting connected with Rudy Miick and having a conversation, I think, could be valuable
Absolutely.
for companies that are interested in that.
Great. Thank you. So, in terms of calls to action, if you want to follow Dewey, can't talk today. If you want to follow Dewey's, you can go to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. They have various social media platforms. I will share information in the podcast notes about the Cincinnati Aruna Run. Or, that was last week about the Cincinnati run. And then there's various pizza schools information you can find on the website. And if you want some perks as a Dewey's customer, potential customer, sign up for Thanks. And upon sign up, that's THANX. Upon sign up, you get a free salad, which their salads are bomb. Won multiple awards. Recommend the peppercorn ranch or the harvest salad, but that's in the fall. And anything else that you'd like to share, Joe, as we close, ways that they can get involved with Dewey's?
Yeah, I guess the only other thing I would add is I liked your story. It was a nice reminder at the beginning how you had initially approached us as interested in leadership, and through the courses of some of those initial conversations, we came to the mutual agreement that, hey, why don't you join us as a team member and get clear about where you want to go. And ultimately, that journey led you to not join us in leadership, which I still consider very much a success.
Absolutely.
So we really embrace the idea that we're trying to partner with individuals whose talents and interests and enthusiasms likely go far beyond the walls of a pizza place. And so whether somebody's going to be a teacher or an attorney or a doctor or a rock star or an artist or a podcaster, whatever they're going to be, that the time that they spent with us would be additive to what it is that they're going to do in their life. And certainly if somebody wants to be in hospitality leadership, we'd love for somebody to join us in a career. But we do understand that 90+% of the people that join us, it's a stop along the way. And our hope is that it's a really amazing stop along the way where they get some tools, some resources that they can take with them and carry through into the rest of their lives. And so another way to get connected with Dewey's is be a part of the team,
Absolutely.
We are always looking for warm, caring people who love to serve and grow. And obviously, if that's something that somebody's interested in, it's easy enough to jump on the website and send in an application. And we're always looking to grow our team and help take things to the next level.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. And if anybody's listening has questions about Dewey's in terms of work experience, feel free to reach out to me. I had a very positive experience and would love to share with you, but definitely go to deweys.pizza.com, check out Do More, check out their jobs, check out their locations, and go there for lunch or dinner because it's fantastic. Well, thank you, Joe, again. It's been a pleasure, some nostalgia for me, bringing back memories and a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and to speak with our audience here about the Dewey stories.
Yeah, nice seeing you, Tony. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Take care.